boldip.com.
Hey everybody, welcome to the Bold Inventors Show. You came to the right spot. I'm JD Houvener and I'm co-hosted with Matt Kulseth. Matt,
Hey.
Yo, thanks for being on again. This is our 5th season. We're veterans at this, the Bold Inventors Show. We're here for you, the inventor, entrepreneur, business owner. As always, we're talking shop, we're talking intellectual property, patents, trademarks, and we have a guest waiting backstage, Jeff Bollengier. I'm not sure I'm saying his name right. He'll correct me as he gets on, but I'm excited to have Jeff on. He's a consultant, an inventor, and so he'll be able to share some insights with you today. Before we get to that, Matt, April Fool's Day. Have you gotten pranked? Are you pranking anybody?
No,
Okay.
not yet. But my kids aren't home from school yet, so I'm sure that there'll be something.
There'll be something. Okay. I did get my kids this morning. I'll share kind of classic. But we do this breakfast routine where I put out their little granola bars in the morning, and they're in the wrapper still. So last night, I carefully opened up the wrappers, shoved in a full carrot stick right inside, taped it shut. So Stella, she's my early bird. She got up, and she's already looking around because she knows, she kind of suspects. Got her so bad.
That's awesome.
She got a big carrot in her granola bar. And then I served up some frozen. They didn't know it was frozen apple juice. So here's your juice, and it wouldn't pour out. So some nice, practical, no harm, no foul jokes. So anyway, it's a fun day. This afternoon we've got a space launch, which I'm stoked about.
Yeah, I'm a space nerd too. I'm a little nervous, man. Things aren't going well right now in the world. So maybe not that they'd be launching spaceships with people in them. But
I hear that. There's a lot of really ugly stuff going on. I think that's why I'm just like, oh my gosh, something bad.
Maybe this is exactly the healthy distraction the world needs is putting people into space, going to the moon, or near the moon. How about that?
Right. Yes.
I'm excited too. I'll be watching it.
Good. Well, all right. For those of you, we've got one live viewer. If we have anybody else hop on live, pop in the comments. We'll take your questions. If you have anything that's burning, just know that we won't be able to answer any confidential topics. If you want to go hop on our website, boldpatents.com, and book a free discovery call if you want to have a confidential discussion. A good place to put hypotheticals, maybe a situation, process level question. Put it in there. Matt and I will get to it. And our guest, of course, you're welcome to ask him anything you'd like to, as long as it's reasonable and respectful. We'll keep it there. Let's jump to it, Matt. You ready to bring our guest on? And Jeff, welcome to the show, Bold Inventors Show.
Thank you for having me, guys.
Hey,
happy April 1st.
Happy April 1st. How do you say your last name? I apologize if I mispronounced it.
You had it right. It's Bollengier.
Bollengier. Cool.
Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah.
Well, good. Well, I'd love to kind of, just kick things off. Introduce yourself, if you don't mind, and walk us through kind of your entrepreneurial path.
Sure.
If you Google Jeff's name, you're probably going to see the Calibowl. So I'd love to talk about the Calibowl if you're willing to share your adventures there, and then what you've been up to, much more recently.
Sure. Well, I mean, I'm quite the Renaissance man. I've done a lot, and I went down the path that we're discussing today after being in the construction industry for maybe 15 years. And so I started my own business in the construction industry, and then quickly realized through a couple of situations that I didn't want to stay in the industry, and I started to get interested in kind of using more the creative side of my personality. That kind of led me to the path of what happened with the Calibowl, which was a major hit for me. I think that was probably in 2006 we started that. But that led me down the path of kind of figuring out who I am and what I'm good at. And for me, that's being an entrepreneur, being my own boss, and it effectively allows me to use my creativity and use the experience I've gained, especially through that first venture with Calibowl, to help others and be involved in more projects that get me excited, that, I can essentially help entrepreneurs and inventors avoid some of the pitfalls and the mistakes that we experienced through our first journey and continue to experience as we dabble in other businesses. So that's led me to where I am today, essentially working as a consultant or a fractional executive that comes in and helps companies fix problems.
Right. Love it. Well, do you want to share maybe a few minutes on that Calibowl journey specifically? I mean, if you go online now, calibowl.com, are you running that company, or is that something you sold years ago?
No, that I'm not running now. I was out of Calibowl in 2015. I sold the business in 2011.
Yeah.
And stayed on board till 2015. But to rewind a little bit, we started that in 2007, and we basically went from A to Z. So Calibowl was an idea I came up with when I was a kid. I was in Rosarito Beach with some friends. We were eating salsa. We were using our fingers to push the salsa onto the chip.
Yeah.
And it's something I never really spoke to anybody about, but just thought about it. I literally remember that day. And then years later, when we got back from Costa Rica, I just had this like reality or consciousness to just be like, I'm doing this. And that just took me down, as you guys well know, a crazy path, because when you go from A to Z, I mean, we started from nothing, shipping bowls in our garage to hundreds of thousands of square feet of commercial real estate, and sending millions of bowls across the world. We were on Oprah. I've been on QVC multiple times. I mean, it really blew up for us. Pretty exciting. And then in 2011, after our acquisition, I decided I wanted to reshore, because we wanted to bring the tooling back from Asia and manufacture in the States, because at that time there were some really, really great retail partners, one being Crate & Barrel, that wanted to have product exclusive to them. So what they were doing was they were asking us to give them exclusive colors and sizes, and doing all really the design and consumer retail work to put together a product that we could have success with. So in order to do that, we felt like it made the most sense to bring tooling home. And that's when we really found out how effective we could be from, within the US, shipping directly to our customers, retail customers, and not having that huge lead time that everyone talks about when you're dealing with Asia. But as far as Calibowl, yeah, that was a 2007 to 2015. It was a really good run. In between there, I've done a lot of consulting, helped a lot of other businesses, and it was quite the adventure. So that's kind of the gist of Calibowl, as far as what happened with that business. And now they are, the company that bought us has now revived it. It looks like in the last year.
Yeah. Oh, so that's recent. Okay. I didn't know that. Okay. So they kind of brought it back around. It had kind of been sort of back corner to just not produced for a while.
Well, no, I think what happened was, it's kind of like, this could be a longer conversation if we wanted to go into the depth of business, but that'd be like a subject of, when you sell your business to someone, you really have to do your homework on who you're selling that to and what they really want to do with that business. And that's one of the things, once you get into that position, you really need to obviously do your due diligence.
Well, I think we may want to get into that a little bit. I mean,
well, good.
So let's save at least 10 minutes, because that's pretty juicy. I mean, when you get to the pot of gold, right? How does that look, right? When you actually get ready to sell and exit, how do you do that wisely? And so some lessons learned from there. I think before we get there, let's talk patents. I mean, we're Bold Patents, we're IP. Let's talk about IP and the patent journey you went down. So you mentioned 2007. When in that to 2015, talk to me about the patent portfolio, or maybe it's just one patent. What patents did you acquire during that time frame?
We acquired what's called the enhanced serving apparatus. It's a utility patent. It's pretty broad. We started that process in 2007, and I think it wasn't till 2012 that we actually were awarded that patent.
Wow.
So It was quite the process.
Long battle. Okay, so one patent utility. Without pulling it up and getting too technical, what did it cover in your mind? What were you celebrating? What was the scope of the claims?
Well, the way I understood it and what I was celebrating was we essentially could protect the concept of what we called smart lip technology, which was essentially the inside of the bowl had certain degreed angles that would allow us to scoop, mix, serve, whatever language you want to use, to project food content back into the bowl rather than out of the bowl.
Yeah.
And so, you know, at least the way I interpret it and the way our attorneys interpret it to us was that it was pretty broad, and that beyond the manufacturing challenges that were there from an injection molding standpoint, because it's got a complete undercut on the bowl, which companies like Tupperware were fascinated by. They couldn't figure it out. That also gave us an advantage. And if I'm not mistaken, there might be a patent in there for the manufacturing process involved in that, which I'd love to share if you guys ever want to talk about that, because
sometimes those are, we recommend clients, if there is a real unique way to make the product, sometimes you keep that as a trade secret, so long as you're able to keep that under your hat. But if it's something you're going to want to someday publish, or you want to try to protect, then maybe do as you did. Can you talk at all about if you decided to go overseas with any patent rights? Did you secure any rights in other countries? Just the U.S.?
So just in the U.S., which was probably a mistake. Once we were funded and really rolling, we made the mistake of just having a U.S. patent. But what we did was we kept that under the radar. And in the housewares industry, for the time that I spent there, which was, roughly almost 10 years, we didn't. No one had even attempted to knock us off. And we had good relationships in the injection molding industry. We knew a lot of people, and we had a pretty large footprint with our manufacturing partner that was local to California, but had a pretty big footprint in Asia.
That's cool.
Hey, I'll jump in really quick here, Jeff. JD, how common is it for clients to have patent rights just in the United States as opposed to take those rights elsewhere?
Pretty common, especially for a new entrepreneur, bootstrapped, trying to make the most out of your funds. Usually the U.S. market is plenty big, to make money. But if it's a product that is going to be manufactured overseas, Asia specifically, or of, and have an in to, let's say, Australian market, Canada, some of the big ones, European Union, then you can make those filings. But only when it makes sense and you've got those strategic relationships kind of near term. Otherwise, the expenses just outweigh the cost. You're going to end up with a pile of patents and have no money capital to market or sell it.
Yeah.
So, okay. Great question, Matt.
Yeah, that's one thing we had to factor is, okay, do we have the budget to do this? Do we go after these other countries? And it was a tough decision because at the time we were bootstrapped, but then we start selling containers, like you said, to Australia, Korea, all over the world. And we started regretting the fact that we didn't go after that international patent.
Here's kind of a weird question, and I do want to get to trademarks too, but in terms of like, hey, trying to understand and apply this to an entrepreneur in 2026. Let's just say, hypothetically, you invented this bowl 2024, right? Or this year, right? What would change now? How would you approach your business plan now to do better than you did before? Well, what would you change?
That's a great question. It actually leads into the whole conversation of why I sold the business and tried to stay involved and how different the environment was then. When I tried to buy Calibowl back 3 years ago, it was because of your question. Like I was like, okay, I own another business now. I own a business called Legit Pro Maple Bats, and I make a pro maple bat for college, high school, and pro baseball players. It's fully customized. It's direct to consumer. It started as a hobby, me and my son during COVID. And
Jeff, I only have one question for you.
Yes.
What are you using to harden your bats? Are we using antlers? What are we doing?
You can use antlers if you'd like, yes, but I'm not using antlers to rub the bats. The maple's hard enough as it is.
All right. I just did ask, just for the listeners at home who are just dying to hear what you harden your bats with.
That's funny. I'll do anything they want as far as hardening goes.
Okay.
But yeah, the maple's shockingly hard. But with that said, I was like, this is an incredible market. There's no more middleman. I don't need Target. I don't need Crate and Barrel. I don't need Walmart. It's obviously depends on what type of product you're selling. But what I would do differently was what I'm doing with Legit Bats. It's direct to consumer. I control the marketing. I can do, promotional campaigns. I'm currently working with a big club retailer for an opportunity that could make me the largest maple bat distributor in the country with one order. But that's what I would have done with Calibowl. I probably would have not worried so much about trademarks. Definitely get the IP globally, but I would focus on direct to consumer. With AI and everything that's going on right now, with what I'm seeing with Legit Pro Baseball bats, it's 100% the way to go. You're less reliant on a lot of capital. I mean, we can do things now with renderings and imagery that used to take me 2 weeks to get from an industrial designer. I can do in under 10 minutes. Pretty amazing. As far as it goes for me, that would be what I would do different with Calibowl, and that's why I tried to buy it back. And coincidentally, when we started talking about that, they essentially reopened the doors without me, and
when
pretty much took the idea
over. They were like, nope, and then here we're doing it on our own again.
Yep.
So
Yep. With the guy that bought its daughter.
Okay. Now
using all the imagery of my children from 15, 20 years ago when they were still kids.
Lovely.
It's
amazing.
That's amazing. Now you mentioned trademarks. You kind of, I don't want to say you snubbed it, but you got to admit that, Calibowl, having that locked in, you're on Oprah, you've got name recognition, that's trademark, right? That's your brand. Don't you agree that was part of, if not a major part of the sale?
Yes, from an asset perspective, of course. And I guess I ran over that pretty quickly. What I mean is, for instance, Legit Bats is something I would trademark.
I'm going to tell you something that you already know about yourself.
Okay.
You're not average. You're not here on planet Earth.
Is that yours or mine, Harvey? Sorry.
You want to grow legs?
Not me.
Not me either.
Sorry, it's me.
No worries.
So, yeah, from a trademark perspective, the name Calibowl, what I mean more so is, for example, I have the C2, which is a subtle torpedo, that I'm not focused so much on that aspect of trademarking that, because I'm rapidly moving through iterations of what's selling and what's not, because you got to remember the consumer is buying much quicker pace when you're not developing products over a 3-4 month period. You're developing them overnight, especially customized. But yes, to reiterate what you're saying, trademarks are extremely important from an asset perspective for your brand. And yeah, so sorry if I came across
Make
as,
sure we don't. Yeah. Hey, good.
Yeah.
I don't want to force you to say that. I really don't. And maybe we've got that 5 to 10 minutes now. Maybe we could dive into that 2015 deal, and then let's carve out maybe some golden nuggets, some lessons learned, what you would have done differently. Can we go there now? Do you want to?
Of course.
Okay. Let's jump there. And if you say as much as you can in terms of if you're held to confidentiality, 11 years later, so be it. But hopefully you're not. You're able to share as much as you can about that transaction. Because a lot of times people think, oh my gosh, I can't wait to get to that point. And then they haven't been there and done that. And they could trip into the same mistakes that maybe you made.
Yeah. Well, so let me preface it with, I have 4 children at this time that were between the age of 6, 9, 12, and 14. And, we used to talk about this all the time. When you're an entrepreneur and you jump into these things, at that point in my life, I was in my late 30s. It was like, okay, you've got to go all in. It can't be one foot here, 1 foot there. I don't know if I necessarily believe that anymore, but that's what we did. And so if you see my bald head and my gray hair, I attribute that to Calibowl. So with that said, yes, I thought we would get to this liquidity event in 2011 and 12, where I would be able to sell a portion of the business and get a bunch of money out of it. That would basically make the whole experience previous worthwhile, and then build it to a whole nother level. So when we finally got there, I had reached out to a lot of different people in the distribution industry for housewares within retail, and that included grocery. So what I did was I cold called this guy that owned one of the largest clip strip manufacturers in the country at the time. And the clip strips are what you see on the side of a grocery store that have all the little miscellaneous items on them that you can buy.
Oh, sure. Yeah. Okay. I was like clip strips. All right. I get it.
Yeah. And so I thought, if I could sell one ultimate salsa bowl in every Safeway in America, that would be one way we could really have a lot of success. So that was the reason I kind of focused on specific distributors, and we got a hit. And then we long story short, we went through an acquisition with them where they bought a majority stake in the business, and the idea was for them to bring us under their umbrella, and we would do what we're doing with Calibowl, but also leverage their distribution into grocery. So after that acquisition, we were doing about 600 units of the ultimate salsa bowl a day in, I think, Safeways or Kroger, which for us was insane from a manufacturing and a scaling perspective.
Just to pause there. So at that point, post closing, the buyer now has majority ownership.
Yes.
Did they did they rock the boat in any way in terms of forcing you to go to a different manufacturer, or was it pretty much they kind of trusted the system that was already in place with manufacturing production?
So yeah, they'd done their homework. They'd met with our manufacturer. For anyone who doesn't know, I used to never call myself a manufacturer because I was just sourcing manufacturing. So now, just to clarify for anyone who doesn't understand, we're considered the manufacturer, but really what we're doing is finding a third-party manufacturer that manufactures our product, and then sometimes we're sourcing others. So those guys had gone out and looked at who we were using, felt comfortable with them. They were actually somewhat of a partner. So when this business was finally bought, they took out our manufacturer who had ownership in the company at that time.
Got it.
Right?
That was part of the deal. Okay.
Yep. So So they were comfortable with that. And to answer your question, more so, we were expecting more support from an industry leader in housewares. What we got was, when we got in there, we literally, it was like they put us in a corner and forgot about us, which was really strange. For the first 7 months, they handed me credit cards and budget, and basically left me alone. So we prepared for that houseware show that year, and no one's going to complain about getting a really good budget. But like I said, we were, the way we perceived this partnership working was much different than the way it panned out.
So it was a lot more hands off than you thought. Way more hands off.
Way more hands off. We thought we were going to be leveraging the new CEO's Rolodex to help us get some of the bigger deals, maybe some of the better distribution, and just answer a lot of questions that entrepreneurs need when it comes to stuff that, even to that point, like, we did every retail audit in the world, and I still couldn't tell you where the perfect price point is for a product like ours. So
you just didn't pay the right consultant enough money. We all know this.
Yes. Okay. There you go. Now you can.
She's out there. She's out there. He's out there. She's out there. You just gotta.
Yeah. Well, isn't it you now, Jeff? Right? You wish you would have consulted yourself. In 2015, don't you do consulting services?
Yeah,
now?
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Just, I mean, it's like what I tell my kids, guys. Just listen, and you will not have to deal with the things that your father has had to deal with. But yeah, you're better off being paid for someone to. I always tell everyone, like, I love giving people information that they don't listen to, as long as they're paying me.
Well, it just means you're professional, right?
Professional.
Yeah. It means I'm a professional. It means I mean what I say.
Jeff, I've got your website pulled up. This is Bollengier Strategies. I want to make sure I give you a little credit and promotion here.
Thank you.
I'm going to pull your website up. Tell us about this company. We've got just a couple minutes left on our live show. What kind of clients are you looking to help here?
Basically, I'm looking for the entrepreneurs, the small businesses. Industry really doesn't matter for me. Business is business. I've really found myself in a position where I can be a fixer. So I can come in and either increase margins, give you the brutal truth, and really just help you move forward with your business and make it worth every penny. And typically what I'll do is I'll justify anything you pay me through the success you have with your own business.
Love that. Fantastic. Can I share your email address with our audience here?
Of course you can.
Jeff at BollengerStrategies.com. Get with him, send him an email. And thank you for sharing your story, with Calibowl and with where you've been and what you're up to now. Any final thoughts here before we wrap up, Matt or Jeff?
Well, I would just say thank you for having me on. And I think it's great that you guys are out there doing this. You've made me aware of it, and I think it's really good resource for people that are dabbling in this world. It's really good. It's very informative. So thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, you're a vital part of that, sharing your story. That's how we
appreciate it.
People want to listen to it. So, Jeff, you take care. Thank you for being with us. Jonathan, one of our longtime listeners, was saying you're bold, Bollengier. So way to be bold. Thanks for sharing. Take care, Matt. Go big.
All right,
Go
guys.
bold.
Thank you for having me.
Yep.
Take care.
Bye.
Go big. Go bold at boldip.com.